I'll compare the portrayal of female characters in two major animated films, Disney's Alice in Wonderland and Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away. Using visual and character analysis with feminist film theory, this study will examine how female protagonists are presented, considering Western and Japanese cultural contexts. The analysis will explore how storytelling, visual techniques, and character development shape gender perception, either reinforcing traditional roles or offering more progressive narratives within animation works targeted at young audiences. Feminist film theory critiques how films represent women, gender, and power dynamics, often challenging conventions and advocating for diverse and realistic female perspectives. The leading female characters, Alice from Alice in Wonderland and Chihiro from Spirited Away, reflect the stereotypes and societal norms of their respective eras. With a 50-year gap, Alice's portrayal aligns with 1950s Western expectations, while Chihiro embodies 2000s Japanese norms of female empowerment. Both are young teenage girls representing the target audience of Disney and Studio Ghibli. As America celebrated the end of World War II, Disney Studios entered the Silver Age. Cinderella was released in 1950, followed by Alice in Wonderland in 1951 based on Lewis Carroll's 1865 work. Then came Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, and more. The fantasy fiction follows the adventure of Alice, a 10-year-old girl who falls down a rabbit hole into a fantastical world. In this surreal realm, she encounters a number of peculiar characters, including the Cheshire Cat, the Mad Hatter, and the Queen of Hearts. Navigating through the whimsical land, she experiences bizarre and nonsensical situations that challenge her perceptions of reality. Spirited Away, released in 2001, became one of the highest-grossing animated films of all time and the first anime film to ever win an Academy Award. The plot follows 10-year-old Chihiro. During a family outing, her parents turn into pigs after overeating, leaving her trapped in a surreal bathhouse ruled by Yubaba. Chihiro embarks on a journey to reclaim her identity and reunite with her family. She encounters a diverse array of bizarre obstacles and learns valuable lessons about courage and resilience. It's essential to consider the cultural and historical contexts and differences between Western and Japanese societies of the 1950s and 2000s, as well as the impact of these factors on the portrayal of women in animated films. Historically, Alice in Wonderland reflects cultural critiques of the Victorian era of Britain, while Spirited Away draws upon Japanese Shinto influences. The Disney work portrays a whimsical depiction of the British ruling class influenced by the Victorian era. According to Urban from BU, self-expression, particularly for women, was considered taboo in the Victorian era. Victorian women were not allowed to search for their unique identity, society created it for them. Alice in Wonderland portrays the societal pressures shown through the Queen of Hearts. Her constant irrationality, symbolized by her off with her head's command, reflects how women were often seen as hysterical and incapable of rational decision-making in Victorian England. Although the Queen's actions obviously reflect an extreme exaggeration, the fear of a woman in charge was a dominant reason behind the pushback against women's rights in England. This critique is also in Alice's journey, where, unlike the rigid education Victorian children received, Alice is given the space to explore her identity on her own terms. Instead of conforming to the expectations, she is allowed to discover her identity through her experiences, challenging the Victorian ideal of passive femininity. In Japan, traditional gender roles have historically been very distinct, with a strong emphasis on the roles of women as caregivers, homemakers, and nurturers. This is deeply influenced by Confucianism and Shinto beliefs that prioritize harmony and family over individualism, according to Craddock at Gettysburg University. Women were often expected to be obedient and passive, and their roles in public life were limited. Chihiro challenges these ideals, who is active, independent, and capable of transformation. Her growth throughout the film contrasts with traditional expectations of female compliance. In Spirited Away, the creatures resembling kami, Japanese spirits, and gods embody the connection between nature and spirituality in Shintoism, showing the cultural respect for both the natural world and kami, who represent certain values. This is mirrored in the portrayal of female characters and kami like Yubaba. While she initially appears as a traditional villain, being powerful and intimidating, her complexity aligns with the film's broader cultural context. In Shintoism, spirits can take many forms, much like Yubaba's layered characters. Her affection for her baby Bo and her rivalry with Zeniba, her twin, reveal vulnerability and insecurity beneath her domineering exterior. Similarly, kami like Lin displays strength and compassion, further deepening the film's representation of women. Both girls are depicted as heroine archetypes as they face unexpected challenges. Alice is naturally a daydreamer, motivated by her curiosity. When she enters Wonderland, she instantly connects with unknown creatures like the Cheshire Cat. She is independent but soon finds Wonderland unbearable, which tones down her curiosity and courage in favor of returning home. Alice is a static character, never fundamentally shaped or changed by her adventure. The story ends with Alice waking up and resuming her life as it was before, without any significant realization or enlightenment. Many critics have pointed out Alice's perceived lack of depth. Ness, in his article, argues that story development posed a significant issue in the film. The Disney animators were working with a story that didn't have a clear plot. Plains also pointed out that Alice seemed to lack a clear purpose, and many viewers saw her as lacking ambition and drive. Even at the end, she didn't exhibit traits of heroism or a strong personality, making it difficult for audiences to connect with her. In contrast, Djibouti female protagonists, including Chihiro, exhibit complex motivations and emotional growth. Chihiro begins as a frightened and confused girl without a clear motive, but as the film progresses, she gains resilience through her encounters. According to Ann Chen, a student at USC for Cinematic Arts, Miyazaki uses lighting, modes, and details of makeup and color adjustments to portray the development of Chihiro's mentality from confused to confident. Miyazaki visually conveys Chihiro's character development through contrasting scenes in the film. In the bathhouse, No Face's body size compared to Chihiro's small, thin shape indicates that her mentality has reached its maximum stage of imbalance. The overwhelming props and excessive coloring mirror her chaotic mental state, showing how she is stuck in turmoil, unable to escape. In contrast, the train scene uses overhead lighting to create a surreal peacefulness, reflecting Chihiro's newfound calmness and determination. As No Face sits quietly beside her, his reduced size reflects the change in Chihiro's mental state, symbolizing her shift from fear to inner strength. Her emotional intelligence grows, her compassion deepens, and her perception of the world broadens. By the film's end, she is no longer afraid of moving to a new town because she is spiritually centered. Alice embodies the ideal physical traits associated with Western beauty standards. Her blue and white dress symbolizes innocence and purity, while her blue eyes, blonde hair, and small frame reflect the era's beauty ideals, romanticizing light complexion and delicate features as symbols of femininity. In contrast, Chihiro has a realistic body type, devoid of exaggerated features. Her brown hair and eyes contribute to her relatability for Japanese girls, while her simple attire, starting with a t-shirt and shorts and later transitioning to a kimono, reflects modern fashion trends and introduces a touch of masculinity to her wardrobe. Exaggeration is a key method in animation character design, altering body proportions to create distinct artistic effects. This article notes, quote, "The degree of body proportion exaggeration gives people different feelings. For example, the 3-head body is more lovely and the 5-head body less so." This concept is evident in the works where exaggerated body features define the female characters' roles and personalities. Both films portray female villains with exaggerated physical features, reinforcing harmful stereotypes. The Queen of Hearts' sharp angles and large figure contrasts with Alice's slender frame, reflecting Disney's pattern of portraying female villains as overweight and unattractive. Similarly, Yubaba's large size and old age convey dominance but also contribute to the stereotype of unattractive women as villains. Despite the time gap, both films reinforce the notion that larger bodies and unattractiveness are linked to villainy and moral corruption. This aligns with Rumble Cash's 2000 study of 120 characters in 23 Disney films, which found that protagonists were generally more attractive and thinner than antagonists, especially among female characters. This bias in character design further perpetuates harmful stereotypes about body image and morality. The comparison of Alice in Wonderland and Spirited Away highlights how each film reflects and challenges gender norms within their respective time and cultural context. Alice's portrayal aligns with Victorian ideals of passive femininity and the Silver Age of Disney, where she remains largely unchanged by her journey, reinforcing the notion of female compliance. In contrast, Chihiro's transformation embodies a more progressive narrative, defying traditional Japanese expectations of female passivity by embracing courage and resilience. The visual storytelling and character design further emphasize these roles, with exaggerated features used to reinforce stereotypes, especially in the portrayal of female villains. Ultimately, this analysis reveals how animation serves as a medium that both demonstrates societal values and offers space for reimagining female empowerment.